Hello, you are listening to the Divorce University online podcast with your hosts, Thomas and Tammy Ferreira.
Hi, I'm Tammy.
And I'm Thomas.
And we are back. And today we are going to talk about, well, the title of the episode is Who Can Do It? Anyone.
Yeah, and that title is inspired by somebody that worked with Tammy's sons to train them in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And the man's name is Jim Brogan. And by the way, he is somebody that has the gift of inspiration. I want to be him.
Well, I'm glad you're you, but Jim is really, he's a fantastic person. He's a wonderful human being. And, had a lot of influence on my boys during a time when we, our family was going through the divorce, and they were kind of searching for general direction in life.
And he had a lot of influence on me.
Yeah.
Just watching him and how he interacted with the boys and just
feeling inspired and
the power of his positivity.
Yeah.
Without, some people do the positive thinking thing and it sounds condescending, right?
Yeah. Or fake.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, come on, you can do it. That's all right.
Rah, rah,
You study that nuclear rocket science physics stuff. You go. You can do it.
No, but if you're in the San Diego area and you have a child that plays basketball, Jim has an academy. If you go out and Google him, it's I can't remember the name of it, but he does a basketball academy.
Yeah, Jim,
he's
Brogan.
Yeah, he's somebody you want your kids around.
Basketball.
And so he
former NBA player.
Yeah, former NBA player. Yeah, and so my kids used to. He would talk to them about, a lot of young boys have dreams of, some sort of professional sports or whatever. And he used to say to them, who can do it? Anyone.
Really?
But who does do it? Nobody. And so it's real easy to set yourself apart if you're willing to put in the effort. But the thing is that what you don't see is that effort. That's going in all day, every day for years before that person.
Right. Yeah. Successful. It's kind of like magic, I consume a lot of surfing.
Right.
I watch contests and these guys it's amazing. And I go, how do they surf like that? How do they do that? And you don't see, all you see is their performance during the contest.
Right.
What you don't see is the grueling workouts and the strict diet regimen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And all the stuff that's gone into it, because a lot of times surfing is no day at the beach. Thank you for that,
use
Tammy.
An ironic metaphor. Yeah, you actually got a laugh out of me today. That's a pretty good day for you.
It is. So this is a long introduction, but when I consume Tony Robbins or Brendan Burchard or name your motivational person, I always think, well, yeah, they can do it. He's Tony Robbins. He can leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that little voice is in the back of my mind all the time. Okay, why? Of course, Tommy and Tammy. Of course, Thomas and Tammy can do it. He has a law degree.
Yeah.
Of course, they can do it. They've been doing this stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
Or Tammy's just walks on water. I don't know what to say. And that objection goes off in my mind. And so what I wanted to share with you is a little bit of behind the scenes. I want to peel back the curtain, so to speak, on how we got here.
Our journey.
And
the point of this is not to tell our story. That's not the point. You can go back to listen to episode 0 and hear our story if you want to hear it from that perspective. This is more about the fact of when you go through a divorce, it's real easy to feel like life's over. I'm done. And, sometimes, we're usually in our, what most people are 30s, 40s when they go through divorce. And so you feel like, well, I'm a little older, how can I do, me 2.0, I don't have enough left in the tank for it or whatever. And so that's more what this is about, is just sharing our journey to help you understand that you can be a Tony Robbins if that's what you want to be. You can be, a Brene Brown or Mel Robbins or whatever, to bring in some of the women.
Is he related to Tony Robbins?
Those are both women.
Oh.
Those are both women.
Okay. Is she related to Tony Robbins?
I don't think so, no. Oh, Mel Robbins? No, she's not related to Tony Robbins.
I've never heard of either of those
not
people.
Not the one. It's because that's the women's circle of motivational, inspirational people. Yes, but again, what you don't see is the steps that they took to get there, and we tend to feel like, oh well, I could never just go out and do that. Nobody will listen to me. Well, if you dig in.
I am not going to take weekly ice baths. It's not happening.
Polar plunge. Tony has like polar plunge, like little pools at his house. But anyway, if you're putting in that work and doing it every day, that's how those people have built their following or done whatever it is that you want to do. It doesn't have to be that. But there's work that goes into it. And so it can look from the face of it like it's just they're an overnight success. And, people like, Kobe Bryant used to talk about this.
Right.
How, people think, oh, he just went into the NBA and he was just super successful. And it's like, his coaches, and same thing with Michael Jordan. They always talked about how he was the first one to arrive at practice. He was the last one to leave.
Right.
Half the time he was there practicing, all hours of the day and night, depending on their schedule and what was going on and all this stuff. And people think, oh, he just gets on the court and it's just magic. Right. It's not magic.
It's not magic.
Hours and hours and hours and hours of dedicated, specific practice.
Right. And you think, the prize of being in the NBA, that's just a huge prize.
Right.
Millions of dollars for playing a game.
That you love. Yeah.
That you love.
Yeah.
But nobody sees the back end, which is the practice and the, just 100 shots before breakfast. And,
yeah. Well, and even things like injuries, they're going in, they're going to see the team trainers, they're getting, heat treatment, ice treatment, cortisones, whatever it is that the treatment is for that. It's like their whole life is built around that thing, and they eat, sleep, and breathe it. It's not like most of us who have regular jobs where, they go to the job, they do their job, and then outside the job, they're living the rest of their lives.
Right.
This is their life. It's very blended.
Right. And here's the thing. Anybody can do this.
Right.
If they're inspired. And in a way, that's what we sell in Divorce University Online. We sell inspiration. Because that's where it comes from. You got to find the fire in the belly to do this stuff. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what it was for me, because when I first found out that I was getting a divorce, I was working for a law firm in downtown San Diego, and I was commuting
a long
way to get there from a house that we had bought in North San Diego County. And, I was doing fine, but not like hitting it out of the park. Yeah. But we had 2 children, and then the divorce came. And I want to tell you, all of the things that we tell clients, the only reason I know is because I've been through all of that.
Yeah.
The divorce fog, the oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Oh my gosh, do I need
financial fears?
Right.
Fears of losing your kids.
Right. And I reached a point where my life wasn't working because I was commuting such a long distance from the home to the daycare to the downtown law firm, back home, and I was totally exhausted, and I wasn't performing for the law firm
The way you needed to, yeah.
the way I needed to, and it wasn't working on any stretch, and
Then came Tammy.
then came Tammy.
No, I'm kidding. Sorry, I had to just take advantage of that opening.
It was
right
like,
there.
Okay, but all of those things, and all of the despair and the despondency and the, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna be able to fix this, and my kids are gonna hate me, and she's gonna win, and she's gonna have full custody, and I'm gonna be working full time to support her, and all this stuff. So I got some assets in the divorce. I had been able to accumulate some real estate and stuff. So so basically, Tammy and I took my settlement and we decided to do this business. There's a little bit of jumping off the cliff there, but here's the thing: I'm an attorney, and I'm getting a divorce, so I have to learn about the
Family
divorce
law,
world and the
yeah.
family law world. And so there was kind of that was the lemon that God gave me to make the lemonade.
Right.
So I just decided to do that, and I abruptly quit my job.
And, it's kind of interesting because you look back on it now, and it's sort of like, if we were in that position now and you were in a regular job and we had to make some decision for you to quit, and it was like more of a joint decision, I think it would be harder in some ways. I'm not sure that I would have been able to. It's very scary. This is very scary. Even now, having our own business is very scary. You have months where you feel like, are we going to make any money next month? Like it's not usually a problem anymore because it always comes, but you still have these little lulls where those things go through your mind, and it's very interesting to me because at the time that you made this decision, we actually weren't married yet. You actually quit about a year and a half before we got married.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you quit at the end of 2007 and we
Right.
got married in 2009.
Right.
So, because I started working with you right after we got married.
Right.
And so it's kind of interesting because really in a certain way, you didn't need my approval. I mean, not that you need my approval anyway as husband and wife, but it's more of a joint.
I do need your approval.
It's more of a joint decision when you're married. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, not that you're asking permission or whatever like that, but you
I know what you
do consider it jointly when you're married, and in a way, you didn't really give it that level of consideration from. It wasn't
Right.
really up to me.
What you're saying is that now's an opportunity because you're getting a divorce.
Yeah, and
Oh, that's a good point. I like that.
well, yeah, this is just on you. You don't need anyone else's permission or whatever. But also just the jumping off the cliff, I think sometimes that is scarier for women in general, just because of our personalities, or at least I shouldn't say that. It's not. It may not necessarily be a man-woman thing. It's just some people are more conservative than others. And a lot of times you have one person that's kind of more of the risk taker that's with the person that's more of the conservative person.
The key to jumping off the cliff is knowing where the pillows are.
And I mean,
That was deep.
15,
Wait, moment of silence. That was deep.
15 or 16 years ago, I didn't know you as well. And looking back now, I can see that really you're not a huge risk taker either. I mean, neither one of us are really big risk takers.
Yeah.
So the fact that you even did that, and when Thomas says, oh, I quit my job, this isn't just a job he had for 2 years. He worked at this firm for 17 years.
Right.
He worked at this firm as long as my marriage lasted. So for him to turn then and put in his resignation, and me now recognizing
Hardest thing I ever did.
yeah, me now recognizing what a risk averse person you are in a lot of ways, I'm actually just, I think it's a miracle that you were even able to step out and do that.
Right. And really, because there have been times on this journey where we have had to ask my mother for money to eat.
In the very beginning, yeah.
In the beginning. I mean, we put we basically put all our eggs in this basket.
Yes.
And that's kind of, I want to tell you that you may be at a point where you can do this or maybe not, but I don't want you to think that, podcast people, and we had, all of this just appeared. I mean, there were some lean years.
Yes.
Where we had to focus on getting this going. And
it was scary. We've had multiple discussions along the way about should we stop and go get a job?
Right.
4 or 5 years in, it was like, maybe this just isn't going to go, and we should just, and then in 2013 really is when so Thomas started in 2008, I joined him in 2009, and it took until 2013 before it really kind of exploded and started actually like making enough money to feed us comfortably without us borrowing from parents or whatever. And then we hit another bump in the road in 2014. My mother died unexpectedly. Right. And so things really took a downturn then because I was having a hard time functioning.
Yeah, that's true.
And so then it took a little bit to recover from that.
Right.
But it was very hard. I would say those first 4 years were really difficult to hang in there.
And how many courses did we record that we never even put out there?
We've got
it's
at
like,
least 3 or 4.
This is garbage. I'm not putting this.
Well, I mean, we have one that we spent, between $1,000 and $2,000, getting studio time and going in and recording and everything, and we never released it.
Right.
Because it was like, okay, we're not ready. We don't know what we're doing yet. This is when we were playing with everything and still trying to figure out what it was going to look like.
Right. And I think that the magic, the secret sauce, I guess is what they call it, right? The gurus. The secret sauce is that you have to find that thing that drives you, like the boys' desire to make it into the NBA.
Right.
You've got to find what that is. What are you willing to take that risk? What is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that will cause you to take that risk?
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of have to think about it and get some fire in the belly around it to do this. And the thing is that here's what everybody says: I can't do that.
Yeah. I can't do that because.
Yeah, I can't do that. I got to work too hard.
I can't do that because I won't be able to make enough money to support my family. And I can't do that because I don't know anything about that. I mean, I'm a person that came into this, I knew nothing about the law.
Yeah.
I knew nothing. I mean, Thomas is a lawyer. He's got the law degree. Like, that was all well and good. I didn't know anything.
Right. I didn't know anything either when it
about
came to
family law. Right.
I knew a lot about insurance defense.
Yeah.
Not too much about family law.
Yeah.
But I had, the thing that really drove me, and I think the thing that drives Tammy, is a desire to have familial relationship.
That's what I was going to say. My kids.
Yeah.
My kids have been the number one driving factor in all of this. And I know that kind of seems weird because we do divorce, but in a certain way, going through the divorce really brings into focus what is important. It's the same effect as when my mom died. It really just kind of honed even more what was really important to me. And then, of course, in 2017, my first grandchild was born. And I now have 4. And that continues to feed my fire. That's there. I want to be able to.
Yeah, that and the desire to be rich.
That too.
Well, no, let's face it.
I'm a comfort loving creature. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, part of it is, and we do a little bit of that Think and Grow Rich stuff.
Right.
Where you think about what it would be like to have a house in Salt Creek and in Orange County, and Tammy has her vision board and all that stuff. But you need a fire in the belly, and for some people that is, being wealthy enough to afford nice things.
Yeah, yeah. Just, I mean, I want to be to a point where we're able to do whatever
high maintenance,
whatever we want to do, whenever we want to do it with the kids or whatever, or take a vacation or a family vacation, or do, whatever things. And, we're not quite to that point yet. I mean, it's, but it's something that we're working towards. That's our goal. That's what drives us.
Right.
And so finding that thing that is what you want and understanding why, it's not, I don't want money just for money's sake. I want money for the freedom that it will create for me and the ability to spend time with my family and not constantly be having to choose, can I afford to take this trip?
Have a good steak at Maestro's every once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, the steak is to die for. It's like you died and gone to heaven.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
That's like an anniversary or birthday place. It's like special occasion. Yeah, it's really good.
Right. So where does the fire in the belly come from? Because what everybody does is they sit in neutral in survival mode. Right? And literally everybody does that.
Yeah.
And who could light their fire and achieve marvelous things like wealth and family security and all the things that you value? I mean, who could do it?
Anybody.
Anybody can.
Yeah.
And who does it? Well, you look at the superstars. You look at the actresses and actors that have made it, and you look at the pro ball players and all these people, and you think, what's the Warren Buffett or somebody like that, and you think, well, I couldn't do that, and that's what everybody thinks.
Yeah, and so if you think you can't, you can't.
Yeah,
You've already defeated yourself.
Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're normally right.
You're correct.
Who said that?
I don't know. Google it. I'm not sure.
Tony Robbins.
Somebody we should know. I don't think it was Tony. It's somebody we should know, but I can't remember. Like Ralph Waldo Emerson or somebody like that is who it was.
Right.
But it's interesting because even in doing this, I will tell you that, in the beginning, Thomas and I didn't really...
In the beginning.
Thomas and I didn't really know what this was going to look like. We tried a lot of different things. We have taught workshops jointly. We work together every day. So our first thought was to kind of try to put things out there jointly of both of us and all that kind of thing. And I remember having a discussion about with an attorney, a family law attorney in San Diego that Thomas knows pretty well and has a mutual friend with. And so we kind of know him on a more personal level. And we were talking about how, we really want to help people and educate them and help them be able to divorce is a devastating process. And part of what drives me and Thomas, aside from the family and, our personal goals, is we really want to be able to help people to do this as well.
We want to help people. That's true.
To do this.
And that does drive me.
To do this as well as they can with as minimal pain as possible while still being able to create family. I mean, that core,
and wealth.
Right. And that core family value that we have is something that we want to help other people know that they can create after divorce too. Because for me and him both, that was our biggest fear, really, was losing our family. Because our kids are like number one for both of us. Right. It's just, I would lay down my life in an instant without a half a thought for my kids. Right. So anyway, we were talking to this attorney and it was kind of like, we were just sharing kind of our vision. This has been probably, 7-8 years ago. And we're kind of sharing our vision of, we really want to eventually not be litigating and be more like helping to educate people because, Thomas always says lawyers are a dime a dozen. And I don't know that good lawyers are a dime a dozen, but I think the gap is the education. People don't understand. Yeah. And if they understand, they can make better decisions and create better outcomes for their family. So we really feel like the education is a huge piece of the value. And what this attorney said to us is, well, people don't want to be educated.
Nobody will buy that.
Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say about that.
It's like, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks for bursting my bubble.
Yeah, and it's hard because this is a colleague, somebody you respect in the legal industry, and it's hard because you come back and that negativity starts seeping into your brain. You go, maybe nobody does want this. Maybe people aren't going to listen to us. Maybe we can't make a living trying to do education or whatever. So, you have to kind of keep the naysayers to the outside of your dreams
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even there were members of our family that had negative comments about it and all that kind of thing. Even just us going into business for ourselves, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, that's so much, you know, insecure stuff and, you know, uncertainty, and you can't do that to your family, and, you know, all kinds of things like that. And so as Thomas and I started figuring this out, you know, and putting ourselves out there, we sort of started understanding that there were certain things we could overlap, such as the podcast where we do it together and all that kind of thing. But then we decided, well, you know, on the education side, it seems like what the women need and what the men need are different. We're coming at this from different perspectives, you know, partly because of nature and, you know, the typical family roles and all that kind of thing. So we said, well, you know, what if we start where we have like where I'm teaching, you know, I'm educating women, he's educating men. We still have things like the podcast that overlap, but let's start putting ourselves out individually and kind of seeing how that goes. And so really, when I started I have a group membership coaching. We've talked about that before. And I started that about 3 years ago now. So we started the podcast like 4 years ago. I started the membership about 3, was it 3? It was 2 years ago. I'm sorry. It was in 2020 during the pandemic.
Right.
Because during the pandemic, everything shut down. And we had to kind of reinvent things and find a new way. And so it was sort of like you talked about jumping off a cliff. It was sort of the same thing with the group coaching. It was like, I don't know how to do this. Right. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know all the technical back end. I'm not sure I even know how to do this.
Right.
And I went through a training program with Stu McLaren, who does memberships, is, you know, kind of known for that. And his words were, just do it.
Right.
Like, just do it. If you don't know what you're doing and you aren't sure, you put yourself out there. And if you get 3 people in your membership, then you love on those 3 people. You teach those 3 people. You do everything you can to make it a fantastic experience for those 3 people. And then you know, do your next promotion and try to get a few more in. And that's literally how it started.
Yeah. And so to bring it back around, we have success.
Yeah.
And the reason we have success, you know, we haven't given up on our dream.
Perseverance.
We have a dream. There's kind of a through line that runs through everything we do.
Right.
And we have that, and it comes from the heart, and you can tell. I mean, our clients can tell.
Yeah.
That we're passionate about it.
Yeah.
So who can do this? Well, anybody can. And your path might not be setting up a divorce, or it might be. Maybe you imitate us. That's fine. You know, the more people that are putting out wisdom, the better.
Right.
But everybody has something. Everybody has a unique perspective on the world that they can contribute. So your job, in a way, is to find out what that is.
Yeah.
You're getting a divorce. You're at a crossroads. Figure out what it is that God has given you to contribute to the marketplace.
Right.
And then contribute the heck out of that.
Right.
And you're helping people.
Right.
And you're helping a lot of people.
Right.
Like if you can get, even if you charge like, you know, $150 a month for your membership and you get 1,000 people, I mean, how much is that? That's like $15,000 a month. Isn't it?
Yeah. When you start adding up the numbers, it's, I mean, getting the volume is work. I mean, let's not, you know, let's not, you know, you're not just going to slap up a few YouTube videos and, you know, or whatever, like Thomas said, it doesn't have to be anything online or whatever, but you're not just going to like do this little dabble into whatever it is. You know, let's say you make the best cookies in the world. Well, you can't just make cookies and go to 2 or 3 local shops and be like, well, I was denied, so I guess this isn't going to work, and just give up.
So I'm going to go back to work for the DMV.
Right. Right. I mean, if Thomas and I had given up at every failure, we wouldn't be here. I mean, we've tried all kinds of things that just totally bombed. But some things worked. So
you find that fire when you're doing what in consistent, what's the word, in consonance with your value system and what drives you. And so you've got to look inside and find that.
Right.
You have to do the introspection and find, what's my through line? What am I about?
Right.
For a lot of you, it's kids. It's
Yeah.
your kids. That's great. Maybe you have some parenting wisdom to impart.
Right.
For me, if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably do a music thing.
Yeah, you love music.
I love music, and I know a lot about it just because sometimes I sit down and I transcribe pieces.
Yeah.
Because I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I would say is I think a lot of times when we do go through a crisis like a divorce or some sort of major life change, and you listen to some of the, experts out there, one of the things that you hear is, do what you love. Do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And my ex used to say that to my kids a lot. Oh, make sure you find something you love. But here's the thing. I personally don't believe you have to love the specific thing in that way. Like,
Right.
if you had asked me when I was 20,
Like
would
eating
you
ice
would
cream
you
or
like to
something.
be a divorce coach? No. Who in their right mind wakes up and goes, oh yeah, I want to be a divorce coach? Like, that's not like one of those careers that's on the list that it's like, whoo, let me do that for a living, But what you have to look at is, one, obviously the practicality of what expertise do you have? What are your skills? What do you do well? But also, I can connect to this in my heart and emotionally because of the personal experience of having gone through it.
Right.
Not because I hit some point in my life where I just said, oh, yay, I want to be a divorce coach. It wasn't that. It was my personal experience and my personal pain, frankly. Right. That gave me a passion for trying to help other people going through it.
And for being part of the solution. That's what I've said to so many times over the years. I want to be part of the solution.
Right.
I'm tired of being a litigator because I feel like
part of-
I'm part of the problem.
Right.
I want to be part of the solution. I want to help people to get through this system and have happiness and goodness and family and love at the end of it.
Right.
Instead of being broke and
Bitter.
bitter.
And hating each other.
Right.
Yeah. And the personal experience is really what kind of brought us and drove us in the beginning. But then as we've moved through it, we found other things in doing this that is a connection for us, in that it allows us to have a lot of flexibility in our schedule. It allows us to be present for our children.
Right.
It allows me to go visit my grandchildren in Idaho. Things that it gives us more flexibility and things of that nature. And so that also adds to our passion for the job because it fulfills different pieces of our family life.
That's right. That's right. And who can do it?
Anyone.
Who does it?
Nobody.
Almost nobody.
Almost nobody. Just a few of us.
And what's reassuring about that second part is that's your competition.
Yeah.
If you embark on a path of entrepreneurship, which is really what we're talking about.
Right.
If you embark on that path, you have competitors.
Yeah.
You go to those Brendon Burchard things, and there's 1,000 people there, or there's 2,000,
Yeah.
and they all have the same thing, but 90% of them don't do it.
Well, because it's easy to go to a seminar and feel good and rah and have a good time. The work comes when you go back home and you actually have to implement, and you have to get up every day and do the work and sit down and
be self-motivated.
And self-motivated because nobody's standing over you telling you to do it. And, because if Thomas and I laid in bed all day today instead of recording podcasts, nothing would happen.
Right.
And tomorrow, if we laid all day and didn't do any work or didn't answer the phone nothing would happen.
Yep.
And the day after that, probably nothing would happen. And for a couple of weeks, nothing would happen. But eventually
nothing would happen.
Eventually there wouldn't be money coming in for food. Eventually there wouldn't, the cases wouldn't get handled and our clients wouldn't be serviced and all that kind of thing. But you have to be self-motivated every day. And that's why finding your passion point is so important.
Right,
because,
and you can do that.
Yeah, because that's what gets you up.
That's the thing. You can't. Everybody could do that.
Yeah.
But you have to find that sauce, that thing that drives you to get up in the morning and I'm going to write a podcast today. I'm going to write some ad copy. I'm going to whatever you hate doing. I'm going to get up and go to court.
Yeah. So you have to really find that thing. So, I really, the main takeaway that I think that we want you to have out of this episode is just that you can create a new life, that it may take risk, and it is gonna, as Brendan Burchard says, you're gonna have to go to a little town called work. I
hate that town.
I know, but
I like to drive by it and
wave at the people in it.
Stop at a place of sleeping in every day.
So it does require work, and it does require some risk, and it's scary, and you have to be self-motivated and all those things, but the payoff is so worth it to be contributing in a way that contributing is a huge piece of feeling, of feeling, what's the word I'm looking for? Worthy, of feeling confident, of feeling, self-esteem, and just having gratification in your work and all that kind of stuff is feeling like you're contributing to other people and pouring into them. And for some people, it's making really good food, or knowing how to decorate a house, or, and for others of us, it's being a divorce coach, or, whatever that looks like for you, and finding that. And so that's our hope for you, that we have given you a little kernel to think about and to maybe motivate you to start exploring
That's right.
What that would look like for you.
Run the credits.
Run the credits. There's a great book called Finding, or What Color is Your Parachute? It's got a lot of work. What am I trying to say? It's got a workbook that you can get, and it's got a lot of exercises that help you work through finding your own, passion. And Thomas actually worked through it when he first kind of started into this after the divorce, and one of our teenage sons is now working through it, so might be a helpful book. So thanks for joining us. If you are watching us on YouTube, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you get notified as more videos come out. If you are listening to the podcast, please rate and review us, and also don't forget to subscribe so that you are notified of new episodes each week, and we will see you soon.
See you then.
Thank you for listening to the Divorce University online podcast with your hosts, Thomas and Tammy Ferreira. For more information, visit www.divorceuniversityonline.com.